think they streamed it onto Facebook too, but I have no idea where that came from. So we're streaming to YouTube and YouTube alone.
Test, mic 1, test, test.
Test, mic 1, test, test.
Test, mic 2. I'm Quinn Kuski alongside of my co-commentator Nick Nauman, and we are live from Morgantown, West Virginia, the home of your Mountaineers as they take on the University of Kentucky Wildcats. And Nick, what are your keys to watch for in this game?
Well, my big key here is West Virginia is going to be trying to run the 1-3-1, which basically just means they're going to try and suffocate Kentucky at the neutral zone and not let them get anything going offensively. So if West Virginia can do that well today, I think they got a great chance of winning.
Thank you, Nick. As both teams are getting warmed up for the second time, both goalies roughing up those creases, get them ready for action. We should be having the national anthem very shortly. And with the conclusion of the national anthem, both teams will gather for one last pep talk. And a big question, in my opinion, this game, Nick, is how will Gilbert respond? He had a hat trick last game. Could he come out and do it again?
Yeah, I think he certainly can. This week in practice, he was flying on the ice. He was scoring a bunch of goals. I think he just needs to get in that mindset that nobody can stop me. He's going to put the puck in the back of the net.
Sometimes you just, as a player, you just need one big performance, kind of put yourself out there, gives you the confidence to go in and do it week in and week out.
Oh, definitely. Once you get that one good performance, you can just hit that stride and just roll.
And line mates Brennan and Evans, they're not too shabby themselves. Very capable of putting up a lot of points.
Yeah, definitely not. That line's really starting to gel together the past few games, and I think they could potentially be the best line on this team.
No surprise at all that the coaches have made them the #1 line coming into this game. They're ready to come out and dominate right off.
So they're just absolutely killing right now everywhere, offensively, defensively.
And the puck has dropped, and the Mountaineers win the draw back to Collins. Collins reverts back, and the Mountaineers will take it from the defensive end. Played ahead for Brennan. He looks to flip it through his legs for Evans. That goes off the mark. Puck goes all the way in on Longo. He settles it for Collins. Collins from his defensive zone once again. Stripped of the puck by the Wildcats. And an unlucky bounce, and puck reverts back to neutral ice. Wildcats unable to get an attack started, and the Mountaineers with it in their own defensive end. It's played around the zone for Collins, who flips it back out through to neutral ice. And the Wildcats have it in their own defensive end. Mountaineers make a change. Sharp angle shot there from way out wide, easily handled by Longo and blocked aside. Now Evans looking to start up the attack, and he'll just dump in and go off for a change. Mountaineers retreating back to the defensive end. They retrieve the puck, and a bad pass there gets turned over to the Wildcats. Both teams battle for it in the near corner. It kicks free, and the Wildcats from the slot with a shot, and Longo stops that with his stick, and that one will deflect up out of play, and we'll have a draw. Kicks up into the air, and both teams battle for it. Eventually it kicks free, and the Mountaineers have it in their defensive end. Mountaineers with possession, looking to work it forwards. They continue to cycle around now in the offensive end, and a solid hit there. The Wildcat defenseman goes down to the ice. Slap shot from the blue line, it deflects around. Both teams jabbing for it. Finally the Wildcats come away with possession. And now the puck rings around the boards, and where it is cleared up and out of play by the Wildcats, and the faceoff will take place in the Mountaineer offensive end. Faceoff won by the Mountaineers. That pass is intercepted, and here come the Wildcats in on a breakaway now. Working out front of the shot. Longo with a big save, and he'll cover up. And we'll have a draw.
Great save there by Longo. They needed that stop.
Definitely a very ill-advised pass from the defense. I'm sure they're about to hear it from the coaches on the bench.
Definitely. You cannot be making that pass.
Face-off won by the Wildcats. That shot goes wide of the cage. Kicks back into Kentucky possession. Both teams battle in the near corner, and the Wildcats come away with it. Looking to pass out in front, but that pass is intercepted by Gilbert, and he goes across for Brennan, who has the puck skip off his skate. And now both teams go after it. Brennan coming away with it. His shot snared by the trapper, and we'll have a stoppage with 17:35 to go in period number 1. Face-off won and controlled by the Wildcats. They look to clear it out of the zone and do so, at least as far as neutral ice, and the Mountaineers send it right back into the zone where it is controlled by Kentucky. Kentucky plays it all the way down, and that will be an icing. This first thing I'm noticing so far in this game, Nick, there is not a lot of flow so far, very choppy play, not a lot of stoppages, a whole lot of stoppages. As a player, how does that affect you early in a game?
Yeah, you definitely would prefer for a game to have flow so you can get some offensive momentum instead of this stop and start type of game where you can't really get a feel for it. As you can see right now, there aren't a lot of shots. This as a player is not the type of game you want to be a part of.
Now Kentucky with it in their own defensive end. They play it forward, but that pass off the mark, and it's intercepted by the Mountaineers. And they hold possession now in their own defensive end. Kicked ahead, and Kentucky sends it back deep into the zone. Going back after it now is Collard. Collard bringing it forwards, and he passes ahead. Ventura, he gets decked down to the ice, and now Kentucky with possession once more. They'll send it back into the Mountaineer defensive end where they'll take possession once more. Puck kicked into the zone where Kentucky will pick it up. That pass off the mark though, now Ventura rings it back around the boards. Right back to the guy who played it to him, and Kentucky has it. And a long lead pass, and here comes Kentucky again. Another shot, and Longo pads that one away as well. Second great opportunity early for the Wildcats. Wildcats send it around the boards where the Mountaineers will take possession. Dickman plays it ahead for Ventura. Ventura dangles by one, and he takes a shot, and that one right into the chest plate of the netminder, and he'll cover up for a draw.
One thing I'm noticing is Kentucky's trying to get those stretch passes going. It's going to be interesting to see how West Virginia adjusts.
Face-off won by the Mountaineers. It's played back to the blue line where it's taken now by Collins. Collins backhands one into the zone. Where now it's battled for along the far wall. And the Mountaineers come away with possession, and a shot from a wide angle. Easily covered up. And we'll have another stoppage. Mountaineers bringing the puck through neutral ice. It's controlled along the far wall, and now the Wildcats have it once more. They flip it up high, and Collins gloves it down, and now he'll blast one from the point through traffic, and it doesn't find its way out on net. Now it's loose in the slot, more shots, and that one kicks up high and now rings around the boards. Sent down low again, and the Mountaineers continue to cycle with it. Best shift so far for the Mountaineers. Now they look to make a quick change and keep this cycle going. Now it's played into the slot, but that pass just a bit off the mark, and that'll clear back out to neutral ice, where the Mountaineers will gather it once more. That pass from the Mountaineers looking for Brennan off the mark, and Kentucky will have it once again. Wildcats once again hit that stretch pass, and it's another breakaway. That shot, and again Longo with the stop. Now the puck gets cleared all the way out. There will be no icing. And it goes all the way down where Kentucky will take it from their own defensive end. This puck rings all the way around again. This time it will be an icing. Collard gets their first icing waved off. And now Kentucky has it at the blue line. They send it back around the boards. Solid contact down in the corner, and now Collard with possession once again. Mountaineers with it in their defensive end. They play ahead and just off the mark of Brennan. Now it's loose in front. Brennan plays it across, looking for Gilbert. Unable to find him though. And now Kentucky controls from their own defensive end. Played back to the blue line. Mountaineers control it at center ice. They'll send it back in and go off for a change. Wildcats in their own defensive end looking to start up an attack. That puck sent up through neutral ice, and it's loose in the offensive end. Kentucky working it in, and a great job by Gilbert there to pick his pocket and take possession. Gilbert plays ahead. Now it's flipped up, not out of the zone though, and right out in front, but up and over the stick of a Wildcat forward, unable to gain possession and get a chance. Wildcats into the slot again, and another shot. This one patted down by Longo, and it just stays out right on the goal line, and it never found its way across. Longo had lost it in its pads, and somehow that puck didn't go in.
Yeah, that all started with that no-call icing there, the collar down the corner. After that, West Virginia just couldn't get it out.
And just quick shot on goal there from the Wildcats. Longo thought it had deflected behind the net. It was in his padding, and when he went to slide across, it kicked loose and right onto the goal line.
Yeah, it didn't look like he expected that first shot. It looked like it surprised him a little bit.
Face-off controlled by the Mountaineers. They send it around the boards looking for Gilbert. Gilbert loses the puck though, and it's flipped back in caddy corner. And away come the Mountaineers with it though. Another solid hit. Kentucky forecheck's been strong so far this game, and they have possession once again in the offensive end. Now both teams will joust for it in the near corner. Once again, Kentucky comes away with it, and a shot, and that one covered up, and we have a penalty upcoming. That will be Dickman for the Mountaineers, and the call is a slash.
Yeah, it looks like West Virginia's coach split up the Gilbert line already.
Perhaps trying, maybe not seeing what he wanted out of the first line, or maybe more likely trying to get production out of more than one line.
Yeah, that's probably what's going on. Really, that first line's really been the only line to get going. Need more depth scoring.
Big kill here for the Mountaineers. Face-off won by Kentucky. Send it down low, and it's controlled down behind the net. Now pass back up to the point. The face-off circle and cross ice and just over the stick. And the Mountaineers will clear it into the bench, and we'll have a stoppage. Face-off will come back into the Mountaineer defensive end. Face-off, controlled by the Mountaineers in their own defensive end. They send it down the boards and all the way down. Now Kentucky will have to restart the attack. Kentucky sends it into the zone, deflected to keep play from being off an icing. Longo controls, and Longo flips it all the way back. Great play by Longo, forcing Kentucky to reset again and allowing the Mountaineers to make a change. Kentucky with it in the offensive end. Sharp angle shot. That catches Longo in the mask, and he keeps it out. Collard now, hoping for the help of a teammate, and he'll find it. And now a 2-on-1 opportunity for the Mountaineers, shorthanded. Into the zone, and a good shot there, but that one up into the chest protector and covered.
You know, Longo, who's been the backbone of this team so far this year, he's looking strong again today.
Definitely not something you see too often, the goalie deciding to clear it out on the penalty kill.
Yeah, it was a great heads-up play, though, by Longo. Really smart.
Face-off controlled by the Wildcats. Mountaineers leave one into forecheck and retreat 3. And here comes Kentucky's attack into the offensive end. Now a shot looking for deflection, unable to find it, and Longo will cover up. And we'll have a draw. Couple players gather after the whistle. Refs quick to get in there, not allow that to turn into anything. Mountaineers still with 33 seconds to kill on this power play for the Wildcats. They've done a good job so far. They look to keep doing what's been working. Face-off controlled by the Mountaineers, looking to clear it around the boards. That doesn't work, and the Wildcats have it up at the blue line. Now it's sent down to the face-off circle. He goes back up to the point, and a shot through traffic, deflects a couple times, but stays wide. Wildcat forward loses an edge, and that allows the Mountaineers to clear it all the way down, and that should end this Wildcat power play.
Longo seems to be in some pain right now.
Yeah, he's sitting hunched over, almost using his stick as a cane, and here comes the Wildcat attack once more. Good play there from the Mountaineers, not allowing a shot on goal on that offensive possession for the Wildcats. And now back at even strength, they can look to get an attack going of their own. Wildcats lugging through neutral ice and into the offensive end. Ducking by Collins and a backhand shot, stopped by Longo, and now Collins controls behind the net. And now he looks to work it out through the defensive end. Collins lugging it through neutral ice into the offensive end now. Collins coast to coast takes a shot, and that one gets blocked off. Dickman controls, and Mountaineers have it at neutral ice. And it's cleared around the boards, where it is taken by the Wildcats. Kentucky bringing it through neutral ice, and they play ahead into the offensive end, and that shot just wide of Longo, bounces off the back of his cage, Both teams battle for it, and the Wildcats come away with it. And that one gets kicked back up to the blue line, and now back down low, where the Mountaineers will take possession in their defensive end and are able to get it out. And now they control it neutral ice. Mountaineers flip it into the zone, settled by the Wildcat netminder. It is now controlled by Kentucky. Kentucky possibly able to set up that stretch pass again. This time Longo there to stop it. And he leaves it off for a line mate. And away come the Mountaineers. Bit of pestering there from the Wildcats. But West Virginia keeps possession, and they'll dump it into the zone where it is now taken by the Wildcats. And now that will go all the way down for an icing.
Yeah, West Virginia's really only had one good offensive shift. Other than that, it's been all Kentucky so far. West Virginia needs to find a way to sustain some pressure. And we have a goalie change going on right now, too.
Yep. Longo just has not looked right. We noticed him kind of hobbled, and now he's going to come off of the ice and go to the trainers. And so, as a netminder in this situation, what goes through your head? You got to sub into a game cold, and you've had a netminder in Longo that's been shutting the door so far.
If I'm the netminder, I want shots on me now and early. I don't want to be sitting in the net because I've already been sitting on the bench. Like that. I want a nice routine shot that I can handle, get my confidence up.
And now the replacement netminder, he looks shaken up.
Yeah, I mean, luckily West Virginia, they dressed 3 goalies for some bizarre reason. And
who would have guessed they would have needed it?
Yeah, who would have guessed?
Mackey looked a bit shaken up off that first shot, perhaps just being forced to stretch and sprawl like that on the very first shot and not having gotten to warm up. Might have just been a little bit tense, but he's staying in there. He's working his legs out right now, kind of going to warm up on the fly. And now puck is at neutral ice and being brought in by the Wildcats, but intercepted there. And the Mountaineers come away with it. The Gilbert line is back together again. The coaches seem to feel as though they're getting production from everything, and Gilbert, Brennan, and Evans are together once more.
Yeah, that's a smart move, putting them back together.
Mountaineers with it in their defensive end, looking to get that attack started up. Collard plays it ahead for Brennan. Brennan almost mishandles it, but able to keep it only briefly as he attempted to duck by a Kentucky defenseman and lost possession. Now with it is Evans. Evans plays across. Now it's played ahead, looking there for Gilbert, but that pass off the mark, and Gilbert takes a big hit. And another huge shot there, that one from Alex Brennan, and he'll sub off right after delivering that crunch. Both teams sparring for the puck along that far wall, and Kentucky comes away with it and looking to use speed to break into the zone, and a shot there easily handled by Mackey. Now the puck rings around where it'll be taken on by the Mountaineers. That pass flips ahead, sparred for by a few players, and Kentucky comes away with it. If only briefly, as the Mountaineers have it once more. Kentucky takes it right back, and they look to dump it in, and Collins mishandles it. Now a good opportunity and a shot there, and Mackey right in position. He'll cover up. Collins kind of reminds you of Eric Carlson if you had to make an NHL comparison in the sense of that offensive defenseman, but sometimes that can lead to a little bit trying to do too much, and I think that was the case there.
Yeah, definitely. He loves to rush the puck, but like as you said, that leaves your team vulnerable to some odd man rushes, which just happened.
Kentucky on the puck, and they will enter offsides. A little bit of a late hit there from Bott. Letting Kentucky know what's going on. Mountaineers with possession. Both teams spar for it, and Kentucky comes away with it. A shot there, and a good pad save from Mackey.
Mackey's looked sharp so far.
Kentucky with possession. They backhand on one out. And now they bring it into the offensive end. Kentucky ducks by one, and a shot there, and Mackey's there again. Another good pad save, having to kick out that left leg. Kentucky twists it down low. Looking to work it into the slot, but unable to do so. The Mountaineers will clear it all the way down for what will be an icing. Face-off controlled by Kentucky. That shot through traffic, got deflected, but well wide of the cage. Now Kentucky from the blue line. Another shot through traffic. Once again deflects wide. Puck goes back up to the point again. This time the Mountaineers there to play a little bit of defense. And Bott will bring it out of the zone. Bott looks to slip by a couple. Gets by one, gets crunched by the second. And now Kentucky coming on with the counterattack. Kentucky tries to slip by, and a good hit there from the Mountaineers, upending a forward. Now the puck kicks up to the blue line, and a one-time shot, and that right into the chest of Mackey, and he'll cover. Mackey is quickly warmed to the task that this Kentucky offense has put him through. He's looked sharp so far in the absence of Longo, and he's been everything the Mountaineers have needed him to be.
Definitely, these Mountaineer goalies are bailing out their team right now. West Virginia's got to find a way to get some offense going. I think they only have 1 or 2 shots in this game, which is not going to cut it.
Mountaineers with it in their defensive end, holding the puck late, and that will be a penalty. You're the Mountaineers here. You got to stay calm. Don't take a second penalty and cancel them out.
Definitely just let the guy go to the box, make him pay for it in the penalty box.
Big opportunity. You just said the Mountaineers need some offense. This could be exactly what they need to kickstart it.
This could be the spark they needed all along.
Mountaineers going with Dickman, Ventura, and Brennan, it looks like, at forward. And the clock's running, but the puck hasn't been dropped. And looks like the refs did notice it, and we'll get that reset. Face-off won by the Mountaineers. They'll ring it around the boards for Ventura. Ventura gets taken down to the ice. Mountaineers still with it.
Yeah, that should have been a penalty behind the net there.
Dickman sends it down low, and it rings around the boards. Coming down to play it is Brennan. Brennan plays it for Ventura. Ventura back to Brennan. Brennan goes up to the point for Collins. Collins back to Brennan. Brennan goes down low for Ventura. Ventura has it skip off his stick. And now it will be taken once again by Brennan. Brennan being harassed by the Kentucky defense, but he works it for Ventura. Ventura has his pocket picked, but he's able to get possession back, and he gives it to Addison. Collins sends it around for Ventura. Back to Collins. Collins works one to Ventura. Ventura crossing the zone. He plays it down low for Dickman. And Dickman's pass is caught by the trapper of the netminder. Mountaineers going to go with a full change. And while the Mountaineers had possession that entire series, there seemed to be no rhythm to the passing.
Yeah, they just couldn't get it set up. They were chipping off the boards, throwing it blindly to the middle. You got to get that power play set up. It's 5-on-4. You have an extra guy. There's always going to be an open man somewhere.
Face-off won by the Wildcats, and they'll clear it out of the zone. Mackey will come out to settle. He'll leave it off around behind, and it will be taken by the Mountaineers from their defensive end. Still 40 seconds on the power play ahead, and that pass just a bit too far, and that will be an icing, and that kills your power play right there.
Yeah, that's going to take some momentum away from this team if they had any to begin with.
I mean, if you're Kentucky, you can win this draw, skate backwards, take it all the way back into your end, and then dump it again, and that kills off the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, that'd be a smart thing to do if you were Kentucky. Exactly what I would do.
Face-off won by the Mountaineers. Now they control, and they still have 30 seconds, enough time to get one last sustained attack here. But a poor pass and turned back over to the Wildcats, and they'll clear it once again. Possibly win the race to this puck, but a good job by the Mountaineer defense there to not let that happen. Now a good shot there, but that one wide of the cage. And that one will be cleared for one last time by the Wildcats, and that will be the end of this Mountaineer power play, and we're back to even strength with 3:20 to go in period number 1. Collard playing a long stretch pass off the mark, and that will kick all the way down for what will be an icing. Evans on the draw for the Mountaineers, and he'll win it. Brennan rings it around the boards for Evans. He's unable to take possession, though. That puck kicks free and eventually is taken on by Gilbert. Now Gilbert flips one into the zone. That one gloved down by a Wildcat, and Kentucky will start up their counterattack. A good move there by Collins, and backhand out in front. Mackey sprawls out and stops it, nets off its moorings. And Mackey's just going to fix it himself, and play will continue.
Yeah, looks like the ref didn't see it.
Kentucky bringing it into the zone again, and a clap bomb there wide. And wide shot from a wide angle. That'll ring all the way out of the zone. And Kentucky will take it back in their defensive end. Kentucky through neutral ice, flips one into the zone. Mackey will cover that one up, and we'll have a draw. About 200 ticks left in this first period. Both teams still looking to break the ice. It's been poor offense on one side from the Mountaineers and just great performance from the Mountaineer goalies to keep this game at zeros.
Yeah, definitely. You had Longo to start off. He played well. Got hurt. Mackey's come in. Kept it going.
Mountaineers looking to work it out of the zone. Unable to do so there, and it kicks right back in where it is taken now by the Mountaineers in their defensive end. Still looking to work it free, and finally, and turned over in the offensive end. Now both teams jab at it, and a good chance there for the Wildcats. Kicks off the blocker of Mackey. Wildcats up to the blue line, wind up in a bomb, and that one goes in. Wildcats have been ripping them through traffic all game, and finally one found its way home.
West Virginia's defensive zone right now is just an absolute mess. People running around, no idea what to do.
Mountaineers win the draw. Played ahead and into the offensive end. Now controlled by the Mountaineers back at neutral ice, and they'll dump one in once again where it is taken by Kentucky. Wildcats looking to work it out of the zone. They'll do so, get it out to neutral ice where both teams jab at it, and now Kentucky brings it into the offensive end. looking to duck by, but unable to do so as Mackey will poke check that away. Solid contact in the corner. Mountaineers delivering that hit. And now here come the Mountaineers once again. Puck played through traffic and caddy corner dumped in. Now the Mountaineers with it in the offensive end. Looking to tie this game up before the period ends. Collins through traffic. That one deflects up out of play. And Mountaineers will have an offensive zone draw with 52 seconds to go in period number 1. So if you're the coach of the Mountaineers right now, Nick, what are you saying in the locker room to try and get your team, prepared for the rest of this game?
I'm telling them the second you get over that red line, dump it in, go get it. Forecheck the Harvard, where they're coming from.
And right there, a huge breakaway save from Mackey.
Stretch pass again.
Stretch pass has been killing the Mountaineers so far. Kentucky just seems to be a couple strides faster.
Huge missed opportunity right there.
Evans with great patience to work his way out in front and just unable to finish that opportunity. Puck now controlled by the Wildcats, and we're going to have a stoppage. A couple players are fighting at neutral ice.
West Virginia looks a little frustrated right now.
Now more players going at it, and this is the Mountaineers' first line. Like, the absolute last thing you need right now is one of these players to get ejected.
Definitely not. These players need to calm down, go back to the second, or go back to the first intermission, regroup, come back after about a second. It looks like they're passing.
Yep, and that'll be the end of the night more than likely for Alex Evans. And that's just a worst case scenario. You have a team that's already producing very little offensively, and now you lose one of the forwards for the best offensive line you've got.
Yeah, definitely. And not to mention you have two defensemen playing forward right now. So Mountaineers very thin goal scoring wise, and right now you need all you can get because you're down one goal.
Now what might be an even bigger question is what penalties are going to come from this. If you lose one of your best forwards, then have to go on a big penalty kill and give up another goal, now you're down 2-0 and your offensive production shot, it's not a good place to be.
Yeah, if I'm West Virginia, I'm thinking just get out of this period, go to the locker room, regroup, because this period has not gone well for you at all. You're lucky to be down only 1-0.
If you're Mackey or Longo, depending on what happens coming out of this next period, whoever has to go in there, you got to be ready to stand tall for your team and make sure this game stays 1-0.
Yeah, definitely. That's the one big takeaway you can take away from this for West Virginia is your goalies look good, which does give you confidence as a offensive group to know that you can take those chances because your goalies got your back.
And Kentucky has had, 5-6 breakaways in this first period already, and every single one has been stopped. The only shot you've had was kind of a fluky shot, through traffic, found its way home, caught Mackey off guard.
That's one of the things you're talking about in the locker room is how to stop those stretch passes and a way to turn those stretch passes into offense for you.
And at the same time, you get in the shooting lanes. That shot that went in, that came all the way from the blue line. That should not be getting all the way through to your netminder.
Yeah, Mackey, you got to move the guy in front of Mackey because Mackey could not see that. He was screened by 2 or 3 people.
Referee's still trying to situate what to call here penalty-wise as Mountaineer and Wildcat captains will wait to hear the word from the ref. Not even sure what started that at neutral ice. Is all of a sudden play stops and 2 players are going at it, and 2 very quickly turned into 4 on each side. When you have the entire rink gathered at neutral ice, going at it, it's a whole lot for the refs to have to sort out and assign penalties to.
Yeah, definitely going to be 3 or 4 penalties here. You got to think going to be assigned.
Looks like we may be close to getting a resumption in action as now the referee is talking to both captains. Kind of explaining what's going on. We see 4-minute penalty on the board to the Mountaineers. So that is, in a double minor situation, you can score twice on that power play.
Yep, definitely. Gotta kill this penalty though if you're West Virginia, because if they go up 3-0, it's going to be really difficult to come back from that.
Waiting to see if any penalties are assigned to the Wildcats. So far, it looks like the answer is no, which is surprising to say the least.
Yeah, I thought I saw a few retaliatory penalties there, but I guess the ref thought otherwise.
Wouldn't be surprised if Collins is down there right now asking the exact same question I just did, trying to figure out why is there no penalty to the Wildcats.
Yeah, knowing Collins, I bet he is, except in a lot more cruel manner.
Looks like it was just a 2-minute minor to Alex Evans, and he just left the ice because there was no reason to put him in the box at that point. So if there's any good news to come out of this, it's that.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said before, you can't be losing another forward, especially how thin you are scoring goals-wise.
Mountaineers now with a double minor to kill off.
West Virginia needs to win this face-off.
Kentucky wins the draw. That kicks into the corner where the Wildcats take possession. And a solid hit in the corner. It kicks free up to the blue line. Well, it's loose and shot off a really wonky angle and right out in front. And much to the pleasure of the Mountaineers, that is the horn to end the period with the scoreline 1-0. And 3:45 still of power play for the Wildcats to start off the second.
Yeah, West Virginia, you're going to have to kill that off, unfortunately. But if you do kill off, hopefully you get a ton of momentum going your way to change this game around.
I'm Quinn alongside of my partner Nick, and stay tuned during the intermission for an interview with one of the Mountaineer players. And we will be back with you for the start of the second period from Morgantown Ice Arena. do the score first. Kentucky Wildcats just scored a goal. I'm Quinn Kuski alongside of my partner Nick Nauman. And Kentucky has just scored another goal. We're having some technical difficulties with our mouse at the moment. And we had to find a new mouse that isn't working too well, but we should be able to get the clock and everything situated shortly. Kentucky with a pair of goals very quickly. Mountaineer offense still has been struggling throughout the start of the second period. And now the scoreline's 3-0, and it's almost starting to feel insurmountable for the Mountaineers. And they're going to call timeout and try to settle themselves and sort things out. So Nick, you were actually able to get into the locker room during the intermission. What was it that the coaches discussed, and now coming out and immediately giving up 2 goals, what do you think they're discussing now?
Well, the first thing they said was you got to kill off the penalties, which they were able to do by bringing up scoring goals, so it doesn't matter. Second thing they said was got to pick up the energy, which this period West Virginia hasn't had any so far. So hopefully they can find that energy somewhere else. It's going to be a long day for the Mountaineers.
And also the word on Longo is he will not be returning to this game as he has a groin injury. Mackey will be between the pipes for the rest of the afternoon. Mackey sends one along. Now the Mountaineers bring it up through neutral ice. The Mountaineers looking to dump one in. Played along by the Wildcat netminder, and Kentucky has possession. Kentucky plays it ahead, and they break it out through neutral ice into the offensive end. Work down low and backhanded and in. A great singular effort from that Wildcat forward. Patient, waited out Mackey. Once he went down, he went up high.
Might be looking for a goalie change here. Don't want to keep him in there too long.
Still no goalie change from the Mountaineers. Mackey needs to, that's 3 goals in about a minute. That's got to weigh on you as a netminder, but you got to shake it off.
Yeah, Mackey's got to do his best to find his game now, because he's the only thing keeping this game from getting out of hand, if it isn't already.
Kentucky with possession momentarily, but it's taken by the Mountaineers. Now Kentucky flips it up high, and it's taken by West Virginia. Mountaineers backhand one along. Wildcats now from their own defensive end. Mountaineer forecheck being very effective so far. Dickman with a shot, and he scores! Dickman just manages to slip it through some hole in the netminder, and it's 4-1.
Yeah, good idea by Dickman there. Just get the puck to the net. Good things will happen.
Definitely something the Mountaineers struggled with in the first period. Maybe keyed in on by the coaches, get pucks on net, and finally they're doing so, and it pays off.
Yeah, from the few chances that West Virginia did have in the first, Kentucky's goal did look kind of shaky, so maybe if they can just get some more pucks on them, maybe they can get some more lucky goals.
Kentucky's netminder also is being hassled by the fans. Every time he takes a drink, they're letting him hear it. He threw a little bit of water at him just now. Maybe they're in his head.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it could get to him. Hopefully for Mountaineers' sake.
Shot through traffic and deflected out in front. This one patted away by the Kentucky netminder. And now away come the Wildcats with possession in the offensive end, but losing an edge, and now the Mountaineers will regain possession. A bit of physical play along the near wall, and eventually it will kick free for the Mountaineers. That puck goes up into the netting, and we'll have a stoppage. Kentucky with it at neutral ice, and now they'll lug it ahead. Kentucky into the offensive end, puts the move on by one, ducking around. That's flipped around behind where the Mountaineers will take it in their defensive end. And now Kentucky at neutral ice will play it back through their defensive end. It's settled by their netminder. Mountaineers with a solid forecheck, and eventually the Wildcats come away with possession. Now into the offensive end come the Wildcats. Kentucky looking to set up a teammate there, unable to do so, and now here come the Mountaineers. Gilbert has one skip off his stick, and he's unable to gain possession. Now it's sent into the zone, delayed offsides for the Mountaineers, but they get back on, and Kentucky will clear the zone. It's taken now by Evans. Evans twists one along. I believe that's Collins, sends one ahead for Brennan. Brennan leaves it off, and here comes Gilbert. Gilbert with a shot, and that one goes just wide. The netminder loses an edge, and a shot. Oh, and Collins' shot gets blocked. The net was empty. Brennan leaves one off for Evans. Puck gets taken by the Wildcats now. Good defensive play there by Gilbert, but unable to gain possession. And now the Wildcats from neutral ice will lug it ahead. A clap bomb up high. That one goes up over the top of the cage, not troubling Mackey. Kentucky leaves one off to the point, and shot through traffic. Mackey pads that one away. Big rebound though, but taken by the Mountaineers. Now they'll get it out of the zone. And at least as far as neutral ice, a lot of hassling from the Wildcats, and they will gain possession. Kentucky now from their defensive end. Stretch pass, cross ice, and now here come the Wildcats. Played right across the net mouth, but no one there on the back door to receive that pass. Now Kentucky from the slot. That shot fanned on. Good defense by the Mountaineer to force a bad shot there. Both teams spar for it, and eventually it comes free to Kentucky. But Dickman there bodies his man off the puck and plays ahead for Ventura. Ventura leaves one off there for Brennan. And now Dickman walking down low, and that one caught in the trapper, and we'll have a draw. Face-off on the Mountaineer offensive end. Definitely a good chance here if you can win this face-off, gain possession. Referee's having some words with, I believe, the West Virginia coaching staff.
Yeah, that was Coach Cunningham right there.
Mountaineers lose possession. It kicks out to neutral ice. Now losing an edge, and now Kentucky with a good opportunity. Both teams battle for it, and eventually it kicks free, where it is taken by the Mountaineers. West Virginia controlling through neutral ice. Dickman bringing it into the zone. Works his way by one. Kicks it out in front, and they score! And it's 4-2 Mountaineers. Here they come.
That was a great play by Brian Dickman. He took the puck wide over the blue line, made the defenseman commit to him, and they just put it right in front right there for the goal.
10-23, right about the halfway point of this hockey game. Now it's 4-2.
Yeah, this happened earlier this year, actually, down in North Carolina. West Virginia was down 4-0. They ended up losing the game 6-5, but they made that game very interesting up to the very end. It looks like the same thing could happen tonight.
Fans once again letting the Kentucky netminder hear it. Mountaineers late getting a fifth man on the ice, but here they come again. Here comes the Mountaineer offense, pass out in front. No one there on the back door to finish it, but a great opportunity right through the blue paint. Kentucky chips one into the zone. It's taken there by Collard. Goes into the zone, and it'll go all the way down for what will be an icing.
Again, the Kentucky goal looking very suspect so far.
I'm
getting everything on.
I'm not saying that the fans are necessarily to blame, but he had a shutout in the first period. Fans come and hassle him in this whole second period. He's given up two.
Yeah, definitely. This is not a professional goalie. He's going to be susceptible to bigger fans getting his foot.
Mountaineers with possession in the offensive end, and a good shot there. That one, good kick save there from the Kentucky goalie. Mountaineers take another shot. That one just wide. This Mountaineer attack finally picking up another shot wide again. A lot of traffic out in front too. Not making it easy for this Kentucky netminder. Another shot once again wide. Here the Mountaineers just start getting these on frame. You're getting the trigger pulls now.
Yeah, definitely. This is the energy we were talking about right here. This is now 3-4 shifts in a row. West Virginia really starting to take it to them.
And a big hit there. And another big hit in return. And now we're going to have a stoppage.
West Virginia, you got to keep it cool.
It's that second. The first hit, I believe, was clean. The hit by the West Virginia defenseman was clean, but the retaliatory hit from the Wildcats was not clean.
I thought that first hit was clean, and the ref did too. The penalty's going to come with all the retaliatory stuff. I think that penalty right there is an indication of Kentucky getting frustrated now too.
Mountaineers have really dominated these last couple minutes of play, and now maybe Kentucky, like you said, getting frustrated, unable to figure out what's changed. When it was 4-0 at one point, suddenly your lead's been cut in half, maybe starting to panic.
I think what's changed is West Virginia finally showed up. When this team, they've shown when they want to play, they can outskate everybody in this league. And so far, Kentucky's figuring that out real quick.
Now, you've already cut this lead down to 2. Now you're on the Mountaineers, though. They took a penalty as well, and that whole exchange, there was just one penalty at first to Kentucky, and just like you said, the Mountaineers needed to stay calm. They were unable to do so, and now instead of being 5-on-4 power play, it's 4-on-4.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff that wins and loses a game right there. You got to realize the situation and realize we have a chance to get this game to one-goal game, and by taking that penalty, now, unfortunately, you're not going to power play, you're not going to get as good of an opportunity.
I would say based on what we've seen most recently in this second period, this 4-on-4 could potentially help the Mountaineers still, as they've been the faster team most recently, and 4-on-4 definitely helps the faster team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a total negative that you're going 4-on-4, but it's not as good as what you could have had with the power play.
Definitely. Face-off won by the Mountaineers. Mountaineers going with 3 forwards and Collins, and a huge hit there from the Wildcats. Evans, the recipient of that shot.
Keep an eye on Addison or Collins, because he was injured earlier this year. He looked like he took a big hit there.
Now the Mountaineers coming in. Breakaway for West Virginia. Evans jabs one, and now players go tumbling into the net. Huge collision. I don't believe the puck crossed the blue line or crossed the goal line before the net came off. But now the question is the state of the Kentucky goalie, because that was a big collision.
Another goalie injury here today. Seems to be the theme today so far.
Players come flying towards the net with wild abandon, and definitely a scary moment for a netminder. You see 8 fully grown men flying at you at full speed.
Yeah, it's definitely not a pretty sight you're going to see right there. I mean, this goalie looks like he's actually really hurt that bad, man.
And when you see a coach walking onto the ice, it's definitely not a good sign.
Yeah, and that coach, Mike, he's a trained doctor, so he knows what he's doing.
Looks like they're looking at the left leg of the netminder. Taking the pad off, and you'll take a look. It looks like they're checking right around the knee area. Definitely a very concerning area. A lot of bad damage can be done there in a very short period of time.
That area right there, where you hurt the knee, and what Rundle had with the groin injury, those are probably the 2 worst injuries you can have. They're both very important to your time.
No signs so far on the Kentucky bench of a second netminder possibly, getting a chance to warm up or anything like that. But I would say it's fairly safe to assume that Kentucky's current netminder is not going to return in this game.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back. It looks like he's in complete option right now. Something that might help the coach get him up.
Got him on his skates. He's being assisted off by a couple line mates. Very ginger on that left leg. So as a player in this situation, you've had a very long stoppage in the middle of play due to an injury. Is that something that's tough to bounce back from as a player? Does it kind of throw you off your rhythm?
If you're West Virginia, it certainly does. This is exactly what you want for Kentucky. Kentucky was on their heels. They needed this stoppage, slow the game down, try and get the game back to what they wanted to play. In West Virginia, this is exactly what you didn't want. You had them on their heels. You had everything you wanted going, and now this long stoppage, you hope they can find the game of what they had doing before.
Now, if you're West Virginia, you're facing a fresh goalie, someone who's not had time to warm up. He's going to be fresh in between the pipes. What is your thought process coming out onto the ice now?
It's all you can at him. He's going to be told he's been sitting on the bench for a period and a half, watching the game. Everything you got, throw it at him. I mean, there's starting goalie, from what I saw, wasn't too good, so you can't expect their backup to be anything unworldly.
And this extended stoppage keeps going here.
I mean, with this long break, Kentucky might be putting a player in that game because their goalie, there's no sign of another backup goalie when the goalie was hurt. So they might be putting a player in that.
That if you're West Virginia, that might be some of the best news you've heard all night. You hate to get an advantage from an injury, but you know if the advantage presents itself, you got to take it.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but it appears to be the case because I don't know what else could be happening because it doesn't look like there's a goal in Kentucky's penalty.
It's such a strange scenario for both. You know, normalcy is that you dress two goalies. One team has three, the other team had one. So nothing normal tonight about this game with an odd number of goalies being dressed and goalies getting injured all over the place.
Kentucky's probably asking our coach if we can borrow goalies. And Chris is probably going to be reluctant because Mackey's going to be shown to be injured. You know, hopefully, West Virginia can.
So if you're the third West Virginia goalie and they borrow you, so to say, what do you like? How do you react to that situation? Because you're playing against your own team.
I mean, personally, if I'm the goalie, I'm still giving everything I got. You know, I'm a goalie. I still have pride. I'm not going to just let people storm at will. You know, but I'm not bothered with who potentially going to go for Kentucky.
I mean, if you are Bobby, I mean, these games count. Like, these are counting in your standings, and you could technically give your team a free win. Like, that's got to go through your head.
It does, but I also think they also have to win, so that's not going to seem
it looks to while we don't have a roster sheet, it looks to our best guess that Kentucky has dressed a player as he grabbed a goalie stick off of the West Virginia bench, which signals that he didn't have one.
Yeah, also that ovation he got from his teammates could signal that he's potentially not used to the situation.
And Kentucky comes in and rings one off the pipe, and if you're playing a player in the net, you need every goal you can get, so that hurts to have one go off the pipe like that. And now a penalty upcoming to the Mountaineers. Yeah, you always hear of these odd scenarios where like a player could go in net. Like I know the Penguins have an emergency goalie. Sidney Crosby is actually the Penguins' emergency goalie. He said, "I've played goalie before. I could do it in an odd case." You never think you'd actually see that happen.
I mean, playing goalie in pond hockey and playing goalie in a game
And Kentucky just scored. Absolute rocket up into the corner. Too high for Mackey to get high stick side too, which is probably the hardest shot to stop.
It definitely looked like it might have handcuffed Mackey a little bit there.
And that's a huge goal for Kentucky. Jump out to a 3-goal lead.
Yeah, but this game, again, it's nowhere close to over, especially with the goal you got in right now for Kentucky. You don't know what to happen.
Mountaineers could very possibly be 3 shots away from a tie game.
Exactly. So for West Virginia, you got to keep your head up and just keep pounding it.
West Virginia bringing it into the zone. A shot, and that one patted away.
Yeah, right there.
Ventura cycling around. He pulls up and lets one go, and that one blocked out in front. That's exactly what you got to be doing if you're Kentucky. Don't let them get through.
Exactly. That was a great shot block right there.
Collins stops and another block. Collins with it once again. He has his pocket picked, but he manages to gain it back. Cross-ice pass there looking for Dickman, goes off the mark. Now the puck played into the zone by the Wildcats. They twist it around. The Mountaineers now with 2 more minutes to kill off of power play. Wildcats out in front, and that shot gets blocked down out in front. Another chance there. Mackey on top of that. And now here come the Mountaineers, and they'll clear it out of the zone. Goes all the way down, and it will be covered up for a face-off. Face-off battled for by both teams and eventually won by Kentucky. They'll clear it up high off the glass, and now they'll have it in the offensive end. That pass looked for a little bit of a saucer look across the zone. That doesn't work. The Mountaineers will clear it out into the defensive end. Now it's sparred forward behind the net. Worked out in front. It's sent up to the blue line by the Mountaineers. Mountaineers back to even strength play here. That shot comes in at a sharp angle. And another sharp angle shot. This one covered up, and we'll have a draw.
Kentucky's goalie has looked pretty solid so far.
He's yet to face a really strong opportunity. A lot of wide shots, a lot of sharp angle shots. You get the Mountaineers. If you get one from the slot, that's where you'll really find out what he's made of.
Yeah, but I mean, he's looked like he's not out of position so far. He's looked calm. He's looked like this is nothing he can't handle.
Definitely what you want to see early if you're Kentucky. You want to see your a skater settle into this role that he's not used to being forced to fulfill.
Definitely, that's got to be a huge confidence boost for the team right now that he's very responsible.
Kentucky from the slot there. That shot doesn't find its way through. Good opportunity for the Wildcats. Mountaineers forward losing an edge. Now it gets played across where it's taken on now by the Mountaineers once more. Both teams spar for it, and the Wildcats come away. Kentucky with a long stretch pass, and that one just off the mark. It's settled finally by Kentucky, but not in stride as the passer would have liked. Now the Wildcats from their offensive end looking to set up a cycle. Played back down low, worked into the slot. That shot high and too high, up over the cage and off the glass. Mountaineers working it into the zone. They'll chip one in. Going after it there, but unable to retrieve it are the Mountaineers, and the Wildcats come away. Now turned over, and a shot from the slot. That one goes wide. Both teams battle for it along the boards. It gets sent around the boards. No one there for the Mountaineers, though. And the Wildcats will take possession. Brennan coming in to provide a bit of forecheck for the Mountaineers. Wildcats able to work their way off of it. Now they'll bring it into their offensive end. Wildcats twist play along. Working it right out in front, but that one patted away by Mackey, and a good shot from in tight. Puck kicks free, and the Mountaineers will play it right into the bench, and we'll have a stoppage. Both teams make full changes with 4:30 to go in period number 2. The scoreline remains Wildcats 5, Mountaineers 2. Face-off won by the Wildcats, but immediately turned over to the Mountaineers. Now they'll look to bring it into the zone. Unable to do so there, and it kicks free. But it's now taken on by the Mountaineers. So far in this game, I've noticed a lot of bouncing pucks and a lot of players losing an edge, and it just seems that the condition of the ice isn't there, and that might have a lot to do with the fact it was 80 yesterday.
Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with it.
Kentucky able to force a turnover in the Mountaineers' defensive end. Worst possible place to turn it over, and they're able to turn it into a quick goal. It was something that myself alongside of Brock noticed last weekend. A lot of defensive zone turnovers from both sides led to almost every goal in that game, and that same scenario seems to be rearing its ugly head again. I can't say I've ever seen that before. I've been watching hockey all my life. Never seen one goalie skate to the other end of the ice to swap out sticks.
Yeah, this has definitely been probably one of the most bizarre games I've seen a lot of hockey.
The current goalie for the Wildcats can't seem to get his helmet right either. I'm saying it's broken. I noticed there are a couple straps flapping loose. I thought maybe it just wasn't tightened right, but it appears as though it's just straight up broken. To go like one of the olden goalies and just go without a mask.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to allow that mask.
If they don't have another mask, would they allow him to wear his player's helmet?
Yeah, I'd assume they just go 6 guys on the ice, 6 skaters on the ice for
If that happens, that might be one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
It sure would make it easy for West Virginia.
He's got a new helmet. Crisis averted, he's got a helmet. Netminder of the Wildcats just informed the fans sitting behind him he is not happy where he's at right now.
He seems to be having a lot more fun with these fans in Boston.
Instead of letting him get in his head, he's kind of joking with them, gave him a salute earlier.
I think as a player who doesn't normally play goalie, I think that's exactly what you can do. You just laugh at it.
Pad save there, now it's loose out in front. For the Mountaineers, from someone who's personally never played goalie before, I would assume that it would be easier to make saves down low. It's not that hard to kick out a pad. You got to get the puck up high, make him use his glove, make him make a stick save.
definitely. When you're down low, there's not as much area to shoot at. So when the puck's down low like that, that's exactly where that boy wants him to be. You need to get out in that slot for West Virginia.
Puck rang around the boards. Mountaineers go in after it, and they have it in their defensive end. Played along now for Gilbert. Gilbert turns it over, and here comes Kentucky again, and a shot! And that one saved by Mackey. A good opportunity for the Wildcats, and they control it once more. Kentucky working it into the high slot, unable to get anything off there. Now it goes down low, loose. Both teams jab for it, and it kicks free for Kentucky again. That shot gets blocked off out in front. And the Mountaineers looking to get an attack started. They ring one around the boards. Kentucky there keeping it in the zone. They'll flip it back in deep. Solid hit down low from one of the Mountaineer defensemen. I believe that might have been Huffnagel. And it kicks free where it is taken once again by the Wildcats, and they kept it on sides.
That's going to be a penalty right there.
2:29 to go in the period. That just about close out the second for. That'll just about close out the second on a power play here, barring a goal. If there is a goal, that's the end of the power play. Netminder for Kentucky playing along with them, throwing a bit of water their way. Both parties are loving it. Looks like we're getting a penalty assigned to both sides, so 4-on-4, more open ice should lead to more shots on goal. That should definitely favor the Mountaineers in this situation.
Yeah, you would think it would, but the way this second half of this period's gone, you don't know right now. West Virginia needs to find their game.
Face-off won by the Wildcats. That pass goes across the net mouth, but just off the mark. A great opportunity there on the 2-on-1. Now the Mountaineers with a chance at a breakaway, but a poor pass. Ventura can't be happy about that. Get a breakaway on a skater. I mean, that's a golden opportunity, but pass off the mark. Ventura with it down low. He gets hooked down to the ice, no call. And now Collins with it. He plays it over to Ventura. Ventura lifts one ahead. Now it goes cross ice for Dickman. Dickman back out in front. No one there to receive though.
You just put that thing blindly. You gotta get your head up there. Look, see who's open.
Kentucky working it back into his zone. And that shot goes up high and wide on the glove side of Mackey. Now Ventura looking to work his way through three guys. He'll just dump it into the zone. That'll come around the boards. And a big hit from the Mountaineers and a good chance out in front. And a good back check, but that will be a penalty. 4-on-3 now.
Another weird thing you don't see it again. 4-on-3.
I feel like if something weird can happen in this game, we're going to see it.
It certainly seems that way so far.
I'm just waiting for both teams to pull their goalies, and we just play with two empty nets at this point.
That'd be something to see. This is the best opportunity so far this game for the Mountaineers now. Yeah, definitely. On open ice here. I mean, you get the puck and set your power play up here. On the open guy. It starts right here.
Mountaineers with it at neutral ice, looking to get this attack started. They played into the offensive end. And a poor turnover there. Kentucky will get it out of the zone. Mountaineers with another chance to restart this attack. Worked into the zone. And once again turned over to Kentucky, and they'll clear it once more. Mountaineers still with 40 seconds in the period. They play it into the zone. Now they look to start that cycle up. But Kentucky forces yet another turnover, and they'll clear the zone again. 1 minute remaining in the Mountaineer power play. We're back to 5-on-4 now, which is a much more traditional scenario for the power play. With 10 seconds to go in the period, Mountaineers will turn it over to Kentucky once more. No, the netminder will decide to cover it up. With 6.4 seconds left, that is enough time. Win and draw, maybe get a good chance on goal.
Yeah, West Virginia hasn't been able to win many draws today, so this would certainly be a huge one if they could win here.
I'd say the best player on the faceoffs tonight for West Virginia has been Evans, and they've got him up at the point right now. They're going with Dickman on the draw. And now it kicks up out of play. Still enough time, win a draw, get a one-timer. It's got to be perfectly executed.
It's always about saying this has got to be absolutely perfect.
Note, if you're Kentucky, you just go for the tie up here. Don't let them win it cleanly.
Well, now it looks like it's coming off time, so.
That'll be the end of 2, more than likely.
But you never know at this point.
And that will be the buzzer at the end of 2. I'm Clint Kesky alongside of my partner, Nick Nauman. And at the end of 2, the score is the University of Kentucky Wildcats 6, the Mountaineers 2. Nick, any last thoughts before we go to break?
My last thought would probably be, we talked about how West Virginia had such good momentum up until that Kentucky goal got hurt, which was, back when it happened, I said that could actually go to Kentucky's favor for the States win down, and that's exactly what happened. West Virginia has not been able to win that.
And that will be all from 2. Again, I'm Quinn Kuski alongside Nick Nauman from Morgantown Ice Arena. Stay tuned for an interview with one of the West Virginia players, and we'll be back for the start of the 3rd period here in Morgantown. we're back for the start of the third period. I'm Quinn Kuski alongside of Nick Nauman. And now Kentucky has control of the puck, breaking into the zone, and a good shot on Mackey, but he catches it up high with the blocker. Collins' pass hits a teammate, not the teammate he was looking for. And now back to even strength. West Virginia will reset once again. And a bad turnover in the defensive zone there. Mackey up to the task, snares it with the trapper. Scoreline remains 6-2. West Virginia making a goalie change. Bobby Zoldos is in now. And on the other end of the ice, a huge save from the skater turned goalie for Kentucky, keeping this scoreline at keeping this game at a 4-goal game. Shot from the blue line. That one gets blocked off, and now here comes Kentucky.
Another off-man left for Kentucky.
Great back check there from the Mountaineer defense, able to negate that odd man.
Exactly what they're looking for right now. A little effort.
Long pass, looking for Gilbert. Goes a bit too far, and that will be an icing. Mountaineers just unable to get any sustained attack, which is exactly what they could use right now.
The second half of that period was not all what they wanted, especially with the play from the goalie. We were looking for a lot more offense there, but hopefully they can turn it around and move.
West Virginia trying to sort out these line changes. Seems as if they've got everything figured out. Oh, nope, they're still short one. And now they've got 5. Play can continue. West Virginia wins the draw. Evans rings one around the boards. Gilbert with it there, but he has it poked off his stick. West Virginia will reset in their defensive end. Mountaineers struggling to even get out of the zone right now. And another turnover in the defensive end, this time from Gilbert. A solid hit there, and they'll at least get it out to neutral ice, but right back to Kentucky. Mountaineers from their defensive end. Evans to Gilbert. Gilbert leaves one off for Collard. Collard ahead for Bott. Bott.
That's good passing right there. In your head, that's a lot of 3 crisp passes right in there.
Collard took a swipe at that one, but missed it. Dickman rings one around the boards. It's taken on by the Mountaineers, but turned over in the defensive end. Now Gilbert clubs one forwards. It's now taken by the Wildcats. Kentucky flips one into the zone where it's taken by Collard. Collard plays one off the glass. Right back to Kentucky once more. The Wildcats holding possession pretty much this entire period so far. Mountaineers not really able to get any attack going.
That's kind of been the theme ever since the Kentucky goalie. Kind of been the same thing.
Kentucky working it into the zone. Backhanded one. A great pass into the slot, just off the mark. Collard with it behind his own net. Now working his way out, looking for a passing lane. He'll leave one off for Dickman. Dickman plays one for Collins. Collins back to Dickman. Dickman through neutral ice into the offensive end. Muscles by one. Loses the puck in his skates, and he'll wind up losing possession of the puck to the Wildcats. Kentucky playing one ahead. It's taken on by the Mountaineers, but quickly turned over back to Kentucky. Wildcats send one around the boards, and it's taken back by the Mountaineers. Collins now from behind the net, avoiding the forecheck of the Wildcats and lugging it through the neutral zone now. Collins gets closed off, and we'll have a stoppage for offsides. Face-off won by the Wildcats. Puck played off the glass, and it's taken on now by the Mountaineers. Mountaineers looking to break into the zone, unable to do so. Now the Mountaineers will chip it in, and they'll go after it. Wildcats, first ones to it. That puck rings around the boards. It's eventually taken on by the Wildcats. They bring it into the zone. Long dump in there. And a twisted around shot right out in front. Another chance. A couple good stops there.
As players, West Virginia team has played. This game is definitely not the goalies' fault. All three goalies have played extremely well in the game.
Evans plays one off the glass. Mountaineers going in after it deep in the zone. Kentucky holding on. Now both teams battle for it. And now it gets played around the boards where it's taken on by the Wildcats. Wildcats with a great move through neutral ice and a great job to come out of the net and make sure to get there that first. Now the Wildcats play one up to the blue line. Puck gets chipped off the glass. Now it goes back in deep into the zone. Wildcats going to make a change. They send in one or two on the forecheck. Collard plays that high. It catches a weird angle off the glass, and that one will kick all the way free where the Wildcats will take it now. Kentucky at neutral ice. They work it into the zone. A couple teammates kind of come into each other there. Bit of a lack of communication leads to a turnover, and West Virginia is back on the puck. West Virginia looking for a slap shot from neutral ice. Unable to find it on frame as that got blocked off. Now Kentucky with it again in their defensive end. Kentucky controlling in their defensive end. They flip one ahead. That one gloved down by Collins, and Ventura goes after it, but unable to get to it. Now it's taken by the Mountaineers. That one gets played across the ice. Collins tries to get to it, unable to do so though. Now Ventura plays it across the net mouth and unable to get it in on the far side there. A good chance for the Mountaineers. Collins throws a weak shot. That one blocked off with ease. And a good hit there from the Mountaineers, and they'll take possession back. That one deflected into the zone by Ventura. Mountaineers desperately trying to get an attack started here. Puck goes deep into the zone. Mountaineers first ones to it. Dickman has it slip through his skates, but now it kicks all the way out to neutral ice, where it is taken now by the Wildcats. Kentucky plays one into the slot, and a shot there. That one patted away, and another chance, and that one kept out as well. A couple great opportunities for the Wildcats. Ventura ducks by a couple. He's been on the ice for a long time, Nick. Dickman plays it across. Dumped into the zone. Dickman's going to go off for a change, and there will go Ventura as well. On the ice for probably 2 whole minutes, at least. That'll be stopped for an icing. Oh, save. Fans continuing to hassle Kentucky's netminder, switching sides to follow him around.
I was just about to say that. It looks like they're traveling over there.
Puck gets played across ice and turned over. Second time we've seen that pass tonight.
Another turnover by West Virginia.
West Virginia with a great defensive play there to stop that pass from going across on a 2-on-1. And that one ripped in.
There's another one.
Good shot block there from Evans. A lot of heart when you're down 4 goals with only 11 minutes left to still be out there blocking shots.
They're not giving Kentucky any easy right now. This period's been pretty 50-50 so far.
That puck will go down for an icing on the Mountaineers. Face-off will come back and take place in the West Virginia defensive end. Face-off won by the Mountaineers. Gilbert working his way through neutral ice. That one gets stick checked away. Now Gilbert will ring it around the boards for Bott. Bott looks to play one down low, unable to find a friendly face. And that will kick free to the far corner where it is taken by the Wildcats. That one just flipped up high out of the zone, missing everybody, and it will be blown dead for a high stick. Not sure where that face-off is going to take place as a result. Looks like it'll be the West Virginia defensive end. Face-off won by the Wildcats. Puck takes a weird hop off the boards, and Bott takes it. He'll go down with a trip, and the Mountaineers will have a power play. If you're the Mountaineers, you get one on this power play. You're not out of it, but if you don't get one on this power play, you're probably looking at the end of the game.
If you get one on this power play, it turns it into a 3-goal game, which certainly you can come back from, but being down 4 with when it ends, it'll be around 8 minutes. It's probably not possible. So Mountaineers definitely need a goal here.
Face-off won by West Virginia. It's controlled now by Ventura. Ventura plays it across. It's taken by Evans. Evans works it down low. Goes back up to the point for Collins. Collins stretches out to receive that pass. Now he shoots through traffic. That one doesn't find its way through. Puck goes high off the glass. Collins keeps it in the zone, but only briefly. And now here come the Wildcats with a 2-on-1. Kentucky works it out in front. That shot off the post, and it stays out. A great shorthanded opportunity. Beat everything but the bar.
The post, the goalie's best friend right there.
Puck left off, and it'll be taken by Ventura. Ventura struggling a little bit with the forecheck. Now it gets deflected into the zone by Dickman. Dickman looked to leave it off for the Kentucky defenseman there, looked to leave it off for his netminder, but almost wound up putting it in his own net.
West Virginia's power play today has not looked very good. They just can't seem to get it set up.
Evans working it into the zone. Looking to start up a cycle. He'll get taken down to the ice, and racing forward at the corner of the zone, but unable to get there was Collard. 40 seconds left on this power play. Still enough time to get a little bit of sustained attack if you're the Mountaineers, and they'll go for another dump in. And that one will get taken once again by Kentucky. Breakaway for the Wildcats, and a great move. And he'll tuck it behind. That'll make the scoreline 7-2. A shorthanded goal for the Wildcats. And with only 8:42 to go in this game, I would say that just about seals it.
Yeah, I'd say 5 goals in 8 minutes probably isn't happening.
Apparently, according to the scorekeepers, it's now 72-6 Mountaineers, so I guess the comeback has happened.
Good news for the Mountaineers.
There's got to be some kind of record.
Yeah, it's a basketball.
Now we're back to even strength. Kentucky working it into the zone once again. Unable to kick one free, and a bit of a slash there behind the play from the Mountaineers. They got away with one on that play.
5-goal game, the refs probably aren't going to call that.
Mountaineers playing catch in their own defensive end. And played ahead, taken on there by Huffnagel, but he's unable to work it free. Now Collard once again looking to play one ahead, and that's not delayed offsides for the Wildcats. Mountaineers just played out of their end. It's dumped right back in, and that's time would be up out of play. And with 7:34 to go in period number 3, we'll have a stoppage. Face-off won by the Mountaineers. Quickly though, possession lost to the Wildcats. Kentucky working their way into the zone. Bott takes it back, and he'll backhand one forward for Huffnagel. Huffnagel takes a shot. That one goes wide. Now the Wildcats take possession at neutral ice and work it into the offensive end. Good check there, and Mountaineers look to work one free. They'll play it ahead, looking for Bott. That pass off the mark, and the Wildcats with it once again. Both teams spar for it, and Huffnagel comes away with it for the Mountaineers. He takes a shot from neutral ice. That one goes in. The Mountaineers take a line change, and the Wildcats will take possession, but a bad pass will lead to Collins on the puck. Collins plays one ahead, now Dickman. Dickman works one in, looking to find a shot angle. Unable to do so, though, are the Mountaineers. And in come the Wildcats once again. That shot sticked away by Bobby. Now the Wildcats with it once again. They work it into the slot, and that shot through traffic. And another chance, and Bobby on top of that, and he'll dive on top of it this time. Collins clears the traffic away from his goalie. A little bit of confrontation regarding that.
I think the story of this game so far is how a player playing goalie still has a shot. The whole period is being played.
Almost reminds you of that story with the Blackhawks when they had an accountant come in and play goalie.
Yeah, when they had 2 goalies get hurt, they had a blast there.
Now a breakaway for Ventura, and he takes a shot and he rings it. Did it go off the bar or did it go in?
It goes off the crossbar.
I thought for a split second there you'd cursed Kentucky's skater turned goalie. You said the S word, and 3 seconds later Ventura's in on a breakaway.
Famous announcer jinx. That's what I was hoping for.
Kentucky with possession. They play it ahead and they work it through neutral ice. Now it kicks free. Both teams battling for it along the near wall. Kentucky with it. They'll play it up to the point for a one-time shot. That one gets blocked off out in front. And now back on it with the Wildcats, and a pass out into the slot. And the puck gets knocked into the net, but the net comes off its mooring simultaneously. Refs wave it off. No goal.
I think one player today that's played really well for the Mountaineers is Brian Dickman. He's been all over the ice, offensively and defensively. I think he's the one skill you can single out that's actually had a good game.
Meaning the stat line from Dickman definitely speaks to what you just said. A goal and an assist, I believe, in this game.
It started off rough too because he took a penalty early in the game, but hopefully he was able to come back, put that behind him, and he's played extremely well.
Possession for the Wildcats. They'll just backhand one back into the zone. Collard goes after it. He picks up the puck and rips one off the far glass. Kentucky back on it. They'll crank it back into the zone, and Collard's still there. He'll settle it once more. Collard plays ahead. That one gets deflected into the zone. Mountaineers with it. No offensive end. A shot there. Rings around the boards. The Mountaineers trying to work it out in front. Unable to do so, and here comes Kentucky again. Kentucky working their way into the zone. They send one up to the point. Shot from the blue line. That one blocked off. Kentucky first ones to the loose puck. Wildcats look to set up an attack once again. That shot through traffic and a rebound opportunity. That one kicks free as well, and that will go all the way back into the Kentucky defensive end. Wildcats now pass one back up to neutral ice. Goes all the way down to be settled by Bobby. A couple players jar for it, and Kentucky comes away, and another shot. Bobbied on that one as well. The Wildcats work it through neutral ice into the offensive end. That pass gets blocked off by a Mountaineer defenseman. Kentucky able to work one free. Now they'll start up their cycle. Pass back down low. Cross ice into the slot. The shot from the slot just wide of the cage. Mountaineers looking to work it free. A big hit behind the play there. Physicality definitely stepping up, and the Mountaineers work into the slot, and they'll score. This one, you need production from somebody. You never know where it'll come from, and the Mountaineers finally found it.
Yeah, you don't really care where it comes from either. Always a goal.
Face off. What's up? Kentucky with it in the offensive end. They send it up to the point for a shot through traffic. That into the chest plate of Bobby, and he'll cover up for a draw. 2:51 remaining in the third period. Mountaineers trail by 4 goals. At this point, you're just playing for pride.
Yeah, exactly. You're just looking for the time to run out here. Because you play this team tomorrow, so you're going to get to all these scores decided now.
Mountaineers now with another breakaway opportunity. And that shot wide of the cage.
With the player and net there, you got to just at least get the puck on net. You saw what happened when Pyatt took a shot there. Really wasn't nothing special.
It'd be better just firing it right at his chest and missing the net, trying to be too fine with that shot.
Exactly, because with the player in net, you don't really know what you're going to get. If you miss the net, you know, the big rejection shot, 100% of the shots, you don't take anything by net.
Collins now controlling it in his defensive end. He works one free. Be played ahead now to Ventura. Ventura flips one into the zone. Dickman going after it, unable to gain possession, and the Wildcats control. That puck deflects off a stick. That will skip up into the Kentucky bench. Here with 1:45 to go in this hockey game, we'll have another stoppage. Mountaineers lose possession, and here come the Wildcats once more on the rush. Wildcats put one right across the net mouth, no one there to receive it, and West Virginia will work it back free. West Virginia through neutral ice and now into the offensive end. That shot caught by the trapper. The netminder giving him the old how do you do after the catch. You got to appreciate the spirit of, I don't have a roster sheet, so I don't know his name, but the skater turned netminder, he's just having a great time out there.
The second he's gone there, he's been smiling, he's showing with the fans, it seems like he's having a great time out there, which as a player who doesn't normally play that position, I mean, it's all you can ask for, is have fun, you want to know that this game, if you do happen to lose it, isn't on you, it's on your fault.
Mountaineers with it in the offensive end, unable to turn around and pull the trigger though. Now Bott kicks one into the slot. A couple players jab at it, and it kicks free where Kentucky will take it. So we're in our last minute of play here in the game. Kentucky through neutral ice. Work free and put one into the slot, and a shot, and that'll be a goal. It just seems like whenever Kentucky gets a sustained attack on the rush, the West Virginia defense just seems to get confused. And it's now led to 8 goals tonight for Kentucky, and 8 goals that none of which you can really fault the netminder.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, all 3 netminders have done exactly what they're supposed to do. I mean, they've gone beyond, actually above and beyond what they're supposed to do. I mean, West Virginia scores are just not that anything.
Kentucky working play into the offensive end once again, stepping by, and there's a shot from a sharp angle. West Virginia's netminder Bobby there up to the task. West Virginia twists one around the boards. It's now played along and goes off the skate of a referee. Now with 4 ticks left, puck will be loose and just dumped back in, and that will be the end of 3. We should have one last interview from one of the West Virginia players. And Nick, do you have any last thoughts here as we wrap up this broadcast?
West Virginia, we're playing the same team tomorrow. So, you know who you got. Go out there, you need better effort than you have right now. Because I didn't see anything here from Kentucky that says we can't win this game.
Thank you, Nick. I'm Quinn Kuski alongside of Nick Nauman. Stay tuned for one last interview, but for us it is so long, and let's go Mountaineers.